Hello. Um, no one's watching, I don't think, but welcome, regardless, to my first stream as LocalBoast. I've done this once or twice before, just under my own name. I think only to Twitch. So this is my first time properly streaming to YouTube, and hopefully the beginning of more to come. Hopefully this is, basically I have no full-time job, so and no prospects other than working on my React library, and I'm figuring I want to just motivate myself to work on it more by doing it on stream, and maybe some people will get benefit from it. Ultimately, I'm hoping to get benefit from it in the form of having a recording of me doing all this that I can maybe turn into YouTube videos or video documentation of the library itself. But looking at the Twitch page for software engineering, I'm seeing, I think there were about 40, 50 different channels streaming. One of them had like 99% of the viewership. So there's sort of a monopoly in this space, it seems. We'll see if we can squeeze onto the bottom of the list, maybe get like a single viewer, one or two, who knows. But yeah, like I say, this is very new to me. I have chat overlaying on the channel, and in theory I can see if people start talking, but yeah, ultimately I won't know until it happens. It could be that I'm completely missing some part of the setup, but I guess let's just get on with it. So I guess brief introduction. Who am I? Who am I and why should anyone care, basically? I definitely won't call myself a React expert, but regardless, I am a React engineer. My name is Connor, and for basically my entire adult life, since leaving university, I've been a React software engineer. I'm currently living in London, but originally from Ireland, and gotta stop saying that's something to work on. So my university education is in software engineering, and in that entire 4-year degree, I never once touched web development or just web APIs, anything, not even HTML. That was entirely self-taught in like one summer after university. And the only reason I got into React and web development at all really was that upon graduating, a previous a fellow student, guy who was in my course, asked me to join his project that he was working on of like building a React native app for some friend he had who had a bunch of investment. So he reached out to me, asked if I wanted to join his team, and he told me, okay, yeah, you got to learn just how to use AWS, S3 buckets, Lambda, React Native, all this stuff. And I didn't even know JavaScript. I definitely didn't know HTML. Really none of the skills required to do any of that. So I keep looking at myself. I should get out of that habit. But I don't know. I kind of like looking at myself. So yeah, I graduated in 2017, I think. So summer of 2017 is when I started learning React Native. I think in the grand scheme of things, that's like, it was a few years into React as an ecosystem. I think it came out in like 2014-ish. So I kind of consider myself as being like in it for a big part of its life. But at the same time, there are people who were on it for years before even I did. So yeah, that's kind of, well, that's not my entire background, is it? That's just getting me up to university and how I got into React. So yeah, basically I only started doing it because this guy wanted me to join his project. But I think it took me a while to grasp it, and I don't remember it being like an immediate love, like, oh, this blows away everything else I've ever worked with before. But I do think that is the case now. I think I'm so immersed with React, having worked exclusively with it professionally for 5 years, 6 years maybe, and so I I can't really speak to other languages, other frameworks, whatever you call it. But yeah, talking into a void. God, it's hard to not get psyched out there. But yeah, while I don't have much experience with other libraries, I just really love the way React works. Anytime I dig deep into the internals of how it functions, I think having this screen up is distracting me. So I'm gonna like hide this if possible. Bear with me. Yeah. Okay. Mini one, even that's probably too much. Now I'll have no idea how the stream is handling, but I want to see if that makes me more able to talk to the camera. So yeah, a few times in my professional career, which has been exclusively web development with React, despite starting with React Native, I have not touched it since the summer of 2017. I fully transitioned into being a web engineer, working with proper browser stuff. The first company I ever joined, I was with them for like 4.5 years, maybe 5 years, and it very much gave me early idea of what software engineering at a professional team working with React is like, and it was a interesting experience in contrast to what I did after, because that first job, literally everyone in the company, or everyone in the engineering team at least, was a React engineer. So it was like if you wanted to change something fundamental to the app, you had 30 people to answer to. And that basically, yeah, working on that one app, one website for 4 or 5 years, and then transitioned onto another company where the web development team was 3 people, and it was way looser, way more of a startup vibe. So if you wanted to change something, you just did it. Maybe you'd message one of the other 2 guys on Slack, be like, hey guys, what do you think about adding this lint rule or something? And maybe they'd give you a thumbs up. Otherwise, it's fine to just push to master. That was a wild team dynamic. But yeah, either way, those 2 jobs, very different dynamics, very different team structures, but for the most part, they were each focused on a singular website, the company's platform, and so that's kind of what I've been immersed in for like the last 5-6 years. My entire professional career basically is the idea of being part of a web team, building a singular app. And so in that time, I've had a lot of exposure to React and web development stuff, particularly UI and user experience stuff. One of my most favorite things to work on was at the first job. I got to play around a lot with HTML canvases, and we built like we would call it like a Photoshop Lite in the browser, specifically for like integrating with the Facebook API for marketing. So we would allow customers to import their product catalogs full of images, and we would have this like image editor in the browser, and that would allow them to basically put overlays on their images. And that was by far the most fun thing I worked on in my career. I think that's definitely something I'm going to start dabbling with in my spare time, or I guess this is my professional time. And yeah, one of these days might start playing around with canvases and game rendering and stuff in the browser. That's always going to be really interesting to me. But that is fundamentally what I love about software engineering, making cool, interesting interactions that the user gets to play around with. Clicking buttons, pulling sliders, those kinds of things that are intuitive, responsive, borderline fun to use. I know it's weird to say that like form elements on a website would be fun to use. I think if the more dumb and pointless a thing is, the more interested I'm in it when it comes to web development. So about 3 or 4 months ago, I left my job professionally. I, for a bunch of reasons, but partly burnout, partly having a bunch of savings, and just a bunch of other reasons, I just left work entirely with no plan to join a new company. I just wanted to kind of somewhat rely on my girlfriend's salary, somewhat rely on my own savings, but also be able to work on my own website, my own portfolio, just a bunch of cool shit that I've built that I can point to and say, here's some stuff that I built. You can use it if you like. You can look at it and play with it if you like. And at the end of the day, you can praise me for all this amazing stuff that I built in the form of, if down the line I need to get a job, I have that option. And I think, the big justification I have for this, say like taking time off work can kind of look bad. I think if at the point of hiring and interviewing, which I've done a lot of from the point of view of the interviewer, at both jobs I've had to do a lot of interviewing. So I kind of have an idea of what interviewers are looking for in a candidate. And I think having like a big gap of unexplained time in your history, while like it might be understandable if there's like personal stuff came up, it doesn't look great in the form of users. What am I even saying? It doesn't look great necessarily because it might mean that people are out of practice. If you've taken a year off for family reasons, perfectly understandable, but family reasons or even mental health reasons, getting closer to what my situation was. The downside, ultimately, no matter how understanding you are, is that if you haven't touched web development, specifically in our case, for a year, you're not going to be that up to date with the current like modern approaches to things. You might not have that instinct again for like how to solve problems, or you know what I mean. So basically, I'll say that again, a bit slower this time. So basically, what I'm trying to achieve by working on this stuff is partly that I love working with React and building these custom hooks and fun interactions. I love doing that. I would be doing that in my spare time. Even if I had all the money in the world, I would continue doing that. So this is what I want to be doing. But ultimately, if it doesn't work out financially, if I need to eventually go and get a job, being able to point to this portfolio, being able to say, I did all this stuff. There's records of it on my Twitch and YouTube channel. It's all there, and you can look at the NPM library or the GitHub page and see all this stuff I've worked on, all these interesting, unique things, and the demos of it on my website. Ultimately, I think that would be such a hireable trait. So even as my worst case scenario, obviously there's worse cases, but my fallback, if I get no success from streaming, nobody joins my Patreon if I ever properly set that up, I will have that fallback of being able to go get a job and point to this stuff as being a cool shit that I've done. But what is LocalBoast? So this LocalBoast, I think I registered the domain localboast.com multiple years ago because I liked the sound of it. It's just a dumb play on words. Every web developer knows the term localhost. I'm not even sure what you describe localhost as. Sort of like an ad hoc way of tricking a browser to instead of requesting web assets, getting all tongue-tied. Instead of requesting web assets from a remote location, it'll act as though it's loading remote assets, but it'll load it from a local port on the machine. I'm honestly not the most in tune with like ports and the more technical aspects of web development. I much more love just using the foundations that are there and building cool stuff onto it. So I don't know why I even tested myself to give a definition of localhost. But yeah, web developers know vaguely what localhost is. And I just wanted to, like, even back then, I knew that I loved just building the flashy stuff. Dumb interactions that you interact with them and you go, huh, that they didn't need to go out of their way to make it respond like that. And that's what I love, building that stuff. It's boastful. I could have spent an hour working on this and I spent 3 days working on it instead. Hence the title of this stream, I think, is Web Development Made Harder. I kind of like that, the sound of that. I might refine it over time. It's a bit dumb, self-defeating. I like it. I like that about it. That's kind of what LocalBoast is. It's boastful. It's pointless, other than to just make things a bit more fun to use. So yeah, that's the motivation behind it. But what is it? It's a React library with a bunch of utilities, hooks that you can use off the shelf, components that make things just kind of solve not necessarily everyday problems, some everyday problems, but a lot of just cool shit that I want to play around with. Well, while I'm on this topic, I'm going to see if I actually have it set up properly. I don't. I'll get the storybook running if I can. I might have broken it yesterday. Weird. Oh. Using the wrong command. I was trying to run it with Vite, so like yarn dev, but I forgot that I'm building the library through Storybook. Okay. It's up and running. Here we go. Yeah, so this, for the time being at least, this is what LocalBoast is. It's a storybook project because it's not a like website. LocalBoast, it's not a website. It's not like a big flashy front end. It's a bunch of utilities. So great way to streamline building that and also showcasing it, especially in the form of it being a library for other people to use. So we want documentation in place. I'm building it through Storybook. And I'll actually make this window smaller so you can see the side panel with my chat overlay. So yeah, I think only a few things are in there right now. In terms of documentation, at least. There's more hidden in there. But so I think the very first thing I built was this truncate component, which also has a matching use truncate hook. All the functionality is in use truncate. And basically this was just trying to solve a problem that I have had at every job I've ever had. Every company, both companies I've joined, at some point there has been a need for middle truncate. By middle truncate, I mean, by default, things truncate like this. You can see that. This is how things truncate. If things get too long for the container, they get cut off. And you get little ellipsis at the end. And that's great. But if the string that you're trying to demonstrate is a file name, overlay, and then what a lot of people would do is put a date at the end. .png. Screw it. And that used to update. Goddamn. But anyway, that is the kind of thing that I was going for. I'm going to make a note of that. Control not controlling. What about the truncate component? Does this update? Nah. Anyway, for the point of demonstration, so if blah, 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 and then some arbitrary date, the date that the person worked on it, and that's the file name. The problem with middle truncate, or the problem with default truncation, the only form of truncation that's supported in the browser by default, is that what a lot of people do in certain roles, say at that, in my first job, where we were allowing people to create designs, and they would maybe be duplicating designs and like tweaking existing designs and forking them off in different ways. What we found a lot of the time was that this first like main part of the file name was called something like my company overlay, something that there's 100 files with that file name beginning, and the actual distinguishing part was at the end, which, if the distinguishing part is at the end and you're truncating the end, then every single file looks the exact same. And this is the thing that I'll try to, on a separate window, see if I can, separate window, just kind of make sure that I don't dox myself or something. View list details. Okay, so even say that like the Windows file browser truncates at the end. I think maybe Mac does middle truncate, because I feel like it understands this problem with truncating the end of files. But basically, there was a request in being, hey, web team, we want our files to not be truncated at the end. We want them to be truncated sort of at the middle, or at least be offset from the end. And it sounds like a really reasonable request. Instead of being blah 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 dot dot dot, they wanted it to be blah 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 dot dot dot, and have the end part of the file name be preserved. And that's just not something that's supported in web development, in JavaScript, in HTML. It's not a thing that's there by default. We had to go build a solution, and it really didn't work very well. But it kind of served the purpose. I think the task got offloaded to a more junior guy, and it was fine. It kind of did the job, but it was flaky. It was not very performant. It wasn't great. I always kind of wanted to build my own version of it. But anyway, then I moved to a new job. The exact same problem happened. There, I was working on a file storage system UI, similar to Google Drive, that kind of thing. And we again had the exact same problem of, we've got a bunch of file names and people are cloning them, or saving them out with the exact same file name, and they're only differentiated by copy 1, copy 2, and that's getting truncated. So the exact same situation came up. This time I got to work on it, but the solution I landed on wasn't great. It was also not very performant, and it hit a load of bugs. Some, depending on the layout, depending on the container, if like the container was automatically sized, then it would shrink itself, and then the container would shrink, and then the text would shrink, and the container would shrink, and it would just reduce to 0. It was very flaky. I kind of wanted to go back to it and work on it again, but because I was at a company, I was beholden to other tasks, other requirements, and just quick little bug fixes were all that were needed. So basically when I started working on this, very first thing I did was work on this use truncate hook. I'm calling use truncate and truncate interchangeably. Basically what I've done with all these components is they're just basically off the shelf, quickly, easy to use versions of the hooks. So I've got a use truncate hook that's actually doing all the logic, and then the truncate component is basically just a JSX wrapper around it. One sec. Sorry about that. Person walked in, my partner, my girlfriend, Rosie. Person walked in. I got distracted, bailed from the stream, wanted to have a chat, need to get better at not doing that. And she's listening to me right now. So, gonna try not to speak quieter. At least she's definitely not eavesdropping. Anyway, back to talking about code and stuff. Yeah, so very first thing I wanted to work on when I started this library was just a really easy, quick way to use truncation. And this is the kind of thing that I think when I first started this, I was seeing this as more of a serious kind of project of like things that in my career, what have I noticed are missing as like a quick off-the-shelf solution to a common problem that comes up. And this is one where I don't think I was able to find a middle truncate solution other than some people suggesting hacky things on Stack Overflow. I don't remember finding just a truncation component, a use truncate hook that would just solve the problem instantly, despite the fact that I built one at those jobs proving that it can be done. So that was the first intention of adding that over here. And like, I'm not going to try to advertise to use this. Basically, the intention with this component is just minimal, no difficulty at all of using it. Just you call it, you pass the function, you tell it where you want to truncate from, and then any string in theory could be truncated from wherever you want, such as from the middle, from the end, from the start, or even with that offset I was talking about if you wanted to like preserve a file name. So that's kind of where I started off, being like this serious solution to a serious common problem. I've started to go a bit sillier, a bit more fun, I guess, more interesting. I do still want these things to be useful, that people will see this and be like, oh, I want to use that in my project. For the most part, I'm good with some things being completely pointless. But I think even that this truncation solution might be a bit too serious for me. It's purely just that I had that personal connection to it of having tried it multiple times in the past and it not going that well. So what I think the last few things that I've actually documented in this library were use move and use rotate. So these are just like really like lightweight implementations that are still not even fully done. But the idea here is just to make anything, even that code is to do, make anything just like really easy to put interesting controls onto. So like here, I've wrapped this bit of text in my use rotate hook, which with like minimal, if any, API understanding, you can just make this thing using its own local state or whatever, just be rotatable. And similarly, this use move, this can just be moved around. This is probably not that useful in itself as just those standalone things. They can serve a purpose if you want to use them for something, but they're sort of in there as a foundational thing to the next step, something I'm definitely going to be working on soon. The idea of sort of a snapping modularity thing, where the idea of, you know, similar to in like OBS or a designer or something, where you can sort of dock sections, you know, on the top of the page, top left of the page, top right of the page, and resize them accordingly, or, you know, have them pop out as a standalone overlaying window. I would love to have that be a thing that's in the library. And one of the first things that I needed in place for that is these, like this kind of being able to move things arbitrarily and resize them, sort of transform logic. And that sort of leads me on to another thing with the library, that I'm trying to basically do everything from scratch, other than like, obviously React itself is a library I'm building on top of, but I'm trying to have no dependencies other than peer dependencies and dev dependencies. I don't want to just use an off-the-shelf solution for movement. Like so many libraries have a use move hook, but partly this is my personal showcase of what I can do and what I want to do. I don't just want to use someone else's solution for it. Also, it makes the library itself more standalone. I don't like the idea of, you know, installing one library which installs a bunch of other libraries which themselves have dependencies. It gets messy. I like the intactness of a library that has no dependencies. So that's kind of a thing that I've been going for with this. So it does mean that I'm kind of reinventing some wheels in the form of like use move, but it does also mean that I get to actually try to figure out how you would go about building this kind of like little easy to understand, but, you know, there's some nuance to it kind of hook. Yeah, so that's kind of where this library is at the minute. But what the other side of things is the website that I've got under localboast.com. I haven't actually pushed anything to it lately, so it's still just got a lot of this Vite placeholder stuff. But I've got a local build of it that's even less functional. But I've got my logo on there, so that's something. And basically what my plan is that the website is going to be, this is the actual portfolio. And it's also got documentation. As you can see, one of the cool things I've got is that storybook thing that I showed here. So this is, I'm actually working on the LocalBoast library through Storybook here. You can see it's run at localhost 6006, whatever. But I found that I can statically build this and not import it, statically reference it in my website, such that when I statically build my website, it includes the HTML for the storybook, which I'm then able to embed in an iframe. And so here, this is just a proof of concept. If you go to localboast.com right now, it's got this just on the homepage, and that is a fully fledged version of my code base. I wonder, is this even working? No. Via storybook, and that's usable there. So my intention is with the website that you'd be able to go to like localboast.com/code, or maybe was it docs? Oh yeah, that's actually working. Cool. So my website /docs would take you to the storybook container. I think I do want to look into customizing it, get rid of this nav bar on the left, and obviously add up my own header and stuff so it looks like it's part of my website and not just that I'm embedding someone else's website. But this is where localboast.com is headed. So it will have the documentation for the library, but it will also be a showcase of the library. So the homepage is going to be like a flashy thing, dumb shit that I can think of throwing in there, using the hooks like use move and that snapping logic I was talking about, partly again to show off my interests and what I've built, but also be like, this is what you can do with it. This isn't just me showing off what I've done. It's also available on GitHub here, and the docs are right here. And where possible, I'm trying to make this stuff as little configuration possible. Like if a default value can be provided, I'm providing one. So that's part of the reason that I'm creating these components for all these wrappers, is that the components, you literally just, if you're going to be rendering a string in the DOM, you can wrap it in this component, and the string is suddenly got all this truncation logic. That's where I'm going with this, is building the cool shit and then wrapping it in the simplest of wrappers possible. But yeah. And the latest thing I've been working on is it's not. I've copied the logic over and the core functionality over to LocalBoast, and I've published it at npm. So that is actually it is actually usable right now. npm. If you were to npm I localboast or yarn add localboast, you would get my library. I have not filled out the README, so this is all just like the built-in Vite off-the-shelf placeholder, basically. But 149 weekly downloads. I think that's entirely me. That's a lot, though. Fuck. Or some bot is scraping. Or maybe I had some process gone wild. I don't know. But yeah, I got to imagine that's entirely me. Oh shit. I see 2 viewers. I don't know if that's me and my girlfriend or if there's an actual human out there watching me. If so, welcome, human. Yeah, I'm just going through my library, my website, all this React stuff that I'm working on. Where was I? The latest thing that I was working on is a Twitch bot, basically. Yeah, okay. So here's the flow. My plan, I've been watching a lot of Doug. Always have. I love Doug. One of the things that he's done for years, that he's made a big name for himself with, is Twitch plays. So he'll like play games like Peggle, and he'll get his Twitch chat to type commands up, down, left, right, and he'll have a locally running bot that's scraping or that's receiving messages from chat, and that'll update things on his machine. And basically, I love that concept. I wanted to play with that and integrate that into React hooks so that you can do stuff on the browser within just like a static build of a website using a Twitch chat. And I wasn't sure if that was necessarily possible, because when I was looking into it, despite there being a bunch of resources out there for Twitch bots, like Twitch themselves have a bunch of solutions of like an example code of here's how you build a Twitch bot. The problem is that a bunch of that was written with like servers in mind. It was like written for Node as opposed to browsers. So again, I wasn't certain it would work at all because I've never worked with WebSockets, which is something that you need for this stuff to work. Thankfully, I was able to port it all over to browser-based stuff. So I'm able to run a Twitch bot within the browser. And I've spent the better part of the last week or so creating a bunch of hooks that allow authentication through the browser with your Twitch login, so that the bot can be running in your own machine's browser with your authentication and be able to listen in on any Twitch chat and be able to do things with that command. So I'll show you the screen again. So the UI, I'm not a UI engineer. Well, no, I'm not a UI designer. I'm a UI engineer. I will try to make this nicer. But this is sort of the proof of concept right now. It's just, you go to some Twitch page. My intention is to have a bunch of games in here eventually. One thing I want to work on is an Etch-a-Sketch that viewers will be able to play around with. You know, put up, down, left, right into chat, and it will actually start drawing a line. And I think we're pretty close to be able to working on that. But for now, we've got an authenticate button, which upon clicking it, it takes you to a Twitch login page. That little pop-up, basically, if you had never authenticated before, it would be like, hey, this website is asking if you want to give this Twitch bot access to read your channel or read channels on your behalf. And if you granted access, it just automatically redirects to here. So at this point, you're authenticated. This is all just running in the browser. I'm not running servers. I don't want that cost, and I also want this to be as flexible as possible that anyone can throw this into any website. So this is entirely running on my browser that I'm authed. That pop-up, it stuck the access token that Twitch gave us into local storage. Now this original tab saw it's been polling local storage, and it saw that we are logged in. So now the bot is logged into Twitch. Or no, it's not. It's got an access token. And all we need to do is tell it what Twitch channel to start listening to. So by default, it'll just go to my channel. But if I wanted to, I could put in any arbitrary Twitch channel and it would start receiving those messages. But I'll leave it at mine. Click join. There you go. And now the bot has joined this channel. And if I send a message into chat, just message for my bot, and I typoed that. But yeah, and that shows up in the browser. And again, this is purely just this one browser page is connected to the Twitch IRC. I don't know what IRC really is. I don't know if that's a server at Twitch, but basically Twitch and this browser page are in communication. So when a message goes to Twitch, Twitch sends it to this browser. There's no server involved, no awkward port stuff. Because I don't know how that stuff works. I wouldn't build that into here. But just by, very, very low coding effort involved in getting this hooked up, once the hooks were built, writing the hooks took a long time. But now these are here, and this will just endlessly receive messages from the Twitch chat. So if I were to type up, down, left, right. You're seeing that appear in the chat because that's just a regular Twitch chat, but it's appearing in the browser. And that way, anyone watching this right now, if there was anyone watching it, they could also write into chat and it would pop up on my browser and be able to, basically my website would be able to do whatever it wanted to with those messages. And that's where games come in. So at this point, that's all working. And now I just need to build some cool shit, have some interactions, something on the browser that can be interacted with by, strings, basically. So yeah, got a lot of hopes for that. And why am I doing this again? Partly, it's really interesting to me. It's really fun. But it's also going to be useful for other people in a bunch of ways. For instance, right now, this is entirely just using my bot, a Twitch bot that I've set up on my developer Twitch account. But in theory, because when I leave channel, that is not just associated with my channel. That can go to whoever is logged in's channel, or you can put whatever arbitrary channel name in there you want. So I think in theory, say whatever URL this ends up being, localboast.com/etchasketch. Any streamer could just go to that website. If they've gone to make coffee, if they've gone for lunch, they could go to that website, authenticate, set up their own Etch-a-Sketch, and they wouldn't have to touch any code. They would just be able to use this game, and it would just work by default because it's all browser based. They don't need to install anything. But also, while that's a nice wrapper around the functionality is there existing in LocalBoast as a React app. So if anyone thinks, oh, that's really cool, I wonder how he got those messages to be read, how that authentication works, it's all there in LocalBoast. You can just download it, and it's open source. It's all visible on GitHub. And also, while I built it, so far everything I built has been off stream. My plan is basically to have it all be done on stream from now on. So yeah, there'll be video documentation of it as well. So that's kind of where we're at. Gets us up to speed. My plan for now, I think, because I'm a little bit not quite burnt out, but on the Twitch stuff, I've got it working. I've got the auth flow stuff there. All I need to do is actually build a game around it. I'm thinking I'm going to park it for now, and because I want to play around with actually getting the website working, because you could see. So this is the homepage. It's got my logo, and it's got a black screen, and that has only existed for a couple hours, because just before the stream started, I figured, I should probably have something on the website, so I threw that up there. So I kind of want to start working on some ways to actually make the website our website, have some stuff on there. One of the first things I want to play with is a dark mode toggle, because every website nowadays needs one of them up the top. And so while, both my website should probably have one, but also maybe LocalBoast should have a quick, flashy solution for it. So one thing that I want to play with is light mode, dark mode toggles are easy. If you understand React, or I've built one in the past and it's nothing. It's just, whatever toggle, whether it's just a built-in HTML input or some UI library, that getting that part on the page, whatever, that's simple. And then it's just a click handler, true or false, and set that into context somewhere. Also, very simple. But that's not enough for me. I want to make it flashy. I want to see what kind of transition we can do between the two. So I think I had some references for dark modes. What's Dan Abramov blog? Overreacted. I remember this one had a dark mode toggle. Does it still? Oh, what? He seems to have simplified this massively. I think there used to be a big header up the top. Does GitHub have one? Probably make sure that there's nothing here that's gonna dox me. No. I think I saw one yesterday. This one? I don't know. But yeah, we've seen a bunch of websites that have light mode, dark mode toggles, just a little checkbox, little switch up the top. And usually it transitions. I think most people are smart enough to transition between the two. So you get like the nice fade from white to black and back and forth. It's not enough for me. I want to see if we can do some sort of delayed animation based on page position. I want to see, because if the toggle's up the top of the page, I want to see if it can sort of like happen in a wave. You know, the page background gradually transitions from black to white and vice versa. But if the elements on the page can also do that, it might be really jank. It might, I feel like I might work on it for ages and still get to the point where it's just like only all right, where like, oh, there's a bit of a wave and then things on the page just kind of pop in between the two different states. It might be a real struggle with a lot of ad hoc CSS, and it probably pretty fragile, but I want to see if we can get a really nice off-the-shelf solution for it, and then be able to extend it with variable animations, or at least have a few pre-built ones. That's just something I want to play with, because ultimately, with my homepage, I want it to be, you land on there and you're hit in the face by a bunch of dumb, cool interactions. Maybe even have the layout of the page still be a bit minimal, but what you can do with the minimal stuff there is in a nice sleek light mode, dark mode toggle. But when you click it, just an unnecessary animation happens. That kind of shit. And yeah, I think that's caught us up to date. And that's basically all I got. So let's just get on with it then, shall we? Yeah, so one of the first things I was doing here, what window do I want to be doing this in? Close this down. Right. So one of the first things I was trying to do was just flesh out this page with a bunch of, I guess, just placeholder stuff so that I can test some very basic smooth transition, light mode, dark mode stuff. And I was trying to embed the Twitch stream. I tried for like 30 seconds and it did not work. So I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can just embed script tags like this. I think I've done something like that before, but for whatever reason, that didn't work for me. So I don't know, what's some stuff I can put on the page? Input type text. Placeholder hi. Well, I'm really struggling to think of things that might appear on a website that would switch between light and dark mode. So I guess text in general, that's got to be adaptive to have the color right. This is some paragraph text. I don't know if I should be light or dark. And I'm going to make sure that this wraps to get sort of a gradual transition within it. Style. Ooh. You know what? It would be really handy if we had a truncation component for this. Actually, no, it wouldn't. I want it to wrap, which is the opposite of truncation. Ignore that. Width. 100. Yeah. And then what can I throw down just at the bottom? Just a div. Style. background color white. So we will have to decide upon like a proper way to do light mode, dark mode stuff. I know, I think this library, sorry, I think this website is using Mantine. I think I installed that. I know I installed it in LocalBoast as a dev dependency for the storybook rendering, but I have not installed it. Oh shit, I have React as a dependency. I should not have that there. Should be a dev dependency. Q or, there you go. Though it doesn't really matter. No one's going to be using localboast.com. That's not a published module, so it's fine. But either way, we don't want to be bloating our dependencies. So yeah, the question maybe I should ask myself now is, do I use a UI library like Mantine, which is what I've been using, what I used at my last job for about a year. Mantine used Material UI briefly at the previous company. I could just use one of them. See, part of me wants to just like, build all the UI myself. If I need a form element or some flashy thing, I should build it. But I'm not a UI designer. I don't want to really be building just boring components like a text input with the nice rounding on it, because that's really not what I'm signing on for. I think I am just going to install Mantine. I quite like it. I think Tailwind I'm seeing a lot about. We used Tailwind at the previous company, and one of the first things I was told is, don't use this. This is legacy code that we want to eventually get rid of. And towards the end of my time there, we did get rid of it. But I don't know if we were using it to its fullest extent. I don't know. I think it's a handy way to put some built-in stylings on things. But you are doing it manually. I don't know if they have like off-the-shelf components for things, unless that's like a recent addition. But I could just be completely wrong. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go with Mantine, and maybe not get too invested in case I need to switch it out down the line. Mantine setup. I know there's like a few things you have to do to get Mantine working. So you're going to join me through this. I don't think I'm going to need any form stuff. So run this for now. Create a post CSS config.cjs. The root of my application. Config.cjs. It doesn't like that. It's not happy with that. But that's exactly what they told me to do. So we'll see if that's good enough for them. I have to import some styles at the root file. I really hope this doesn't take too long to get working. Main. There. Yay, that stuff installed without errors. Yeah, I know Mantine, I think, has built-in theme solution. I assume Google Material UI and stuff does as well, but I know Mantine does, which is partly why I want to get that in there now while I'm looking at the light mode, dark mode stuff, because I'm pretty sure they have just this built-in config of like which mode to use depending on which setting you're on. So like color scheme is something that they have, which I think ties into the light mode, dark mode stuff. So set up VS Code. Ah. Don't you just love installing stuff? Especially when, you know, installing is like a multi-step process where with just so many things that you could miss one of them or assume that this bit doesn't relate to you. Ugh. Probably, so I need this, don't I? Stick this at the root, I don't know. Stick it in there. Mantine provider around app content. Router provider. Okay, yeah, this is a good place to put it. You. Nope. You. Is that all of that? I've imported that. Done that. I'm not using server-side rendering. I need to set up VS Code. So I've done that, installed that. I need to create .vscode/settings.json at the root of my project. Okay. VS Code settings.json. Okay. That's that, right? I got that right? VS Code settings JSON. Yep. Now is it going to understand this? No. Though I don't think that's the problem it was trying to solve anyway. Hopefully it doesn't mind this, because it's a CJS file, so it's common JS, but it's referring to a module, which I think is wrong. But that is exactly what they told me to do, right? CJS module.exports. Yeah. I'm sure they know what they're doing. Okay, so I think in theory, Mantine is set up and can work. Let's see if let's just see. Cancel. Do we have? Yes, this is there. If I just build a toggle, just a light mode, dark mode toggle, I'll play with that. Do I just have no components in here yet? Components. Should this be basically what I was doing with the Twitch stuff, the Twitch bot things, is that I was building it in the website because it was very much meant to be designed for the website with a UI in there. I was building it all in the website, and then when I had stuff that was extractable for the library, I was pulling it out into the library. I could do it the other way, where I build it in Storybook with the API in mind first, build the UI in Storybook as a generic solution, and then apply it specifically to my website. I don't know. Since this is such a I want the website to look right situation, I'm tempted to just do it in here. So that's what I'm gonna do. Theme toggle. Are we calling it a theme? Color scheme toggle. It's not a very fun name. Any suggestions? What we could call a light mode, dark mode toggle that's kind of fun. Dark side switch. I'm gonna call it dark side switch. Yes. Sorry, I fucked up my shortcuts in VS Code by trying to be fancy. Basically, when I switched over from using a Mac, which for like the last 5 years I've been exclusively using Mac, and it all worked nicely, but I didn't want to stay in Apple's ecosystem. So when I left my job, I got my own Windows laptop, switched over to that. But the keyboard, since command is so useful in Mac, all shortcuts and macros, especially in VS Code, like rely heavily on use of Alt and command. But the positioning of these things is just a bit different in Windows, and the Windows key isn't the same as a command key in so many different ways. So I switched all the VS Code shortcuts to be a bit more what I'm used to, but I only switched some of them, or switched some things that I shouldn't have switched. So like if I do Command F and then I say Command, that was Control F. And then if I do Control backspace, it doesn't get rid of the search bar. It gets rid of the line in the code, and I keep doing that and deleting code that I don't mean to. So that's what happened there. That's why I just shouted angrily at my code when I typed something and it worked. Okay. So yeah, I think, and that's what the same thing happened down here when I was creating a folder and I tried to do Control backspace, and it did not clear out the new folder name. It cleared out my code. Whoa. Dark side toggle. That's where we were. New file. I've been following this naming structure that a guy at my last job suggested. I'll hide my chat window for now. And also this bar. It's a bit small to see. Make it way bigger. So yeah, I've been following this naming structure where if I've got a component called, like in this case, dark side toggle, instead of just being component / dark side toggle.tsx, I'm creating a folder for it. I guess for like really basic components, which this probably is, you could just avoid the folder thing, but the system that I'm going with is component / the folder identifies the thing, and then there's an index file in there, but all that index file does is export default from / dark side toggle, and that file doesn't exist yet. I'll create that now. So that's got the wrong name. tsx const dark side toggle. Yeah, a lot of the things I'm doing, like using const instead of functions, and this naming structure, it's just stuff that I've picked up from coworkers or habits that I've gotten into. It's just the way that I find works nice. It's what I'm into. Export defaults dark side toggle. So there's my lovely fully functional component, and you're gonna start working now. Dark side toggle. Did I spell it right? From / dark side toggle. Cool. So yeah, that's the file structure I've been going with. You'd have the component name as the folder, which contains the component name.tsx and index, which is a bit weird, but it serves some purposes. Where like if it's just this, like, and I don't need a constants file or like a helpers file or a style file that's specific to that component. This is overkill. There's no need to add this complexity. And I think, is there anywhere that I'm skipping over that complexity? I don't think there is in this anyway. I think I do it in LocalBoast for those those Twitch things. So hooks, use Twitch chat. Yeah, so you can see here where I've done the use Twitch chat things. I made that its own folder with a use Twitch chat file and an index that exports that file. But I did make some individual helper hooks that I didn't give them their own folder structure with an index file, because that was overkill, because those are like hooks way more minor, way more ad hoc, specific to this bigger exportable. But what I'm going with here is this kind of weird solution. It gives sort of the best of both worlds, where it allows a folder structure so that you can encompass other helper files. Say if I wanted to add in, and sure, I'll do it now because I probably will need some styles. Styles.module.sass, and if I wanted a constants.ts file in here as well. So if you've got these things that you want to encompass specific to this component, you need a folder wrapping it. And so if you've got a folder wrapping it around the component, then you need an index file to be able to export it so that people can import from components/darkside toggle and not have to go specific one step further and have like a really long import name. So that's the benefit of having the folder with the index. But the problem with, like, if I were just to put this functionality into the index file, it makes it hard to search for. Say I'm looking for use Twitch chat bot, and I type use Twitch chat bot. If there wasn't a file with that name, so okay, here, what was it? The folder was called use Twitch chat. If there wasn't an individual file with that name, then that would not appear at the top of the search listings. Instead, I'd get other files that partly match that name, and I'd get every file within that folder. So you can see that if the actual functionality was declared in the index file is shown up way down here on the search listings. So it becomes instantly harder to find the file called use Twitch chat, because it's not called use Twitch chat, it's called use Twitch chat/index. So that's why I like having the index file there to make the exporting and the importing easier, because you can just import the folder that has the, import from the folder that contains the functionality and let Node just handle the resolution via the index file, but then also having a file with that specific name on there. The only real downside is that you end up with a full file path that's a bit silly. If I zoom in, yeah, you can see. So this actual file, fully searchable, darkside toggle, first thing that comes up, because that's what it's called, darkside toggle.tsx. But it does have the downside of its full file path is darkside toggle/darkside toggle.tsx. I can live with that. This is the reason for me following that file structure. And I'm just going to start a record of that in case I need to go back and make a little short about that. Yeah, I need to go have a bathroom break, so you can look at pictures of my dog for now. And we're back. Apologies for that. Yeah, I didn't get lost on the way back from the bathroom. I swear. Sorry, I'm struggling with OBS. Give me 1 second. Close that. Everything okay? I didn't just kill the stream? No, we're good. Speaking kind of quietly. Need some G Fuel. Not sponsored. Okay. So where was I? I think... Oh yeah, I was justifying my import structure reasoning. Let's go back to the code. Yeah, I'll leave chat off for now until there's any actual chat. Actually, I haven't seen the YouTube chat since I made some changes. So I'm just going to test that. Test. Is it gonna show up? I don't know. Did I break it? Test. Okay, there it is. YouTube chat. Oh well, that's fine. Okay. You can go away again. Right. So I think I just installed Mantine, hopefully. Hopefully. I'll stick him over here. Right. So what I wanted to see was, did it install? Dark side toggle, what is it? Switch from Mantine. Does this work? If I import dark side toggle into homepage, will it work? This is actually another time I can use Mantine. What is it? Group. That's just a little horizontal flex box. Dark side toggle. And this is where I find out that Mantine is not at all correctly installed. Hey, it does work. Cool. The benefits of using a UI library, am I right? So we've got our dark side toggle. Where did I define context? The theme. Dark side toggle. I think you can tap into Mantine theme with a hook. Mantine set color scheme. Review. Actually, yeah, there's no chat covering the windows, so that's fine. Light, dark, and auto. Yeah, how am I going to handle that? I guess I do want it to respond to the user's system, but I can default it rather than letting Mantine. Actually, no. Yeah, I'll leave it as auto, and hopefully we'll be able to derive from Mantine which scheme we're using. Use Mantine color scheme, and it does let you set. Cool. And there's a toggle. Awesome. So that's all we need. So the toggle const toggle color scheme. I should probably have checked what the actual function was called. That's fine. Toggle color scheme. On change. Is that the callback? Toggle color scheme. So because I'm not using any Mantine components, I don't know if that's worked. I also don't know if I need to specify all of the Mantine themes or if any of them come for free. We will see. You can dock over there. If I add some actual Mantine stuff in here, so text. So it's Mantine text. And this toggle, I don't know if it's doing nothing. I'm still recording, actually. Yeah. Yeah, we're good. Give me a placeholder. Give me just an off-the-shelf theme. Come on. So it is saying Mantine theme override. So it should work by default. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna see, is the toggle actually doing anything? So I'm gonna get color scheme and I'm gonna log it in the function body. Can you believe it? This is a terrible thing to do. Not even in a use effect. My goodness. You can be a pop out. Dark. Light. Dark. Light. Okay. I should probably give the toggle value. What is the Mantine switch? I need to decide whether left or right is light mode or dark mode. So, ooh, do they have something for it? So they have icons, which I will want. Oh. Tabular icons. That's interesting. Maybe I should install that. Tabular icons React. Yeah. Yeah, go on. Just Mantine uses a lot of tabular icons. So in their docs, they'll talk about something as though this is part of like, oh, the assumption is you have this. You can just stick this into your code. So you need to have the tabular icons or be willing to swap them out with something else. Oh God, that's a lot of installs. Okay. We're good. Theme. So this is just a full light mode, dark mode toggle. Yeah, I'm just gonna steal this solution for now. For now. And like this should not be defined. Yeah. I guess it's fine to define that in the component body, I suppose. Tabular icons React. Icon moon stars. There you go. Rem. Interesting. Never seen that before. So then how are they actually using it? On label, off label. Okay. And I don't have theme. I thought I did use Mantine theme. So what is the purpose of this? This isn't a light mode, dark mode toggle, is it? I guess it is, but they're not building the functionality into it in the same way that they did over here. Functionality to actually change the page. Yeah, there's an example of a toggle. I could have just made it a button like they did. I like the toggles. So yeah, I'm gonna make it size XL. That looks nice to me. Does this just work? Hashtag. No. Theme. Okay. And there was an extra bit of styling, wasn't there? To make it black. And that's just confusing. Having the sun, but it's black. So it's dark with the sun icon as dark mode. That's really confusing. Yeah, color dark 4. I'm just gonna flip these. Moon icon. Sun icon. And you can have color dark 4. Sure. Yeah. That XL is actually ridiculously big. LG. Thank you. Just deleted the whole line of code. Okay. So now we are actually toggling light mode, dark mode, but nothing's happening. It's right where we want it. How do I do this? So where is that background color set? Do I have that like up at the index, top level index? I think I do. Don't, or do I? Where's this root component defined? It's create root, get element by ID root. And we're attaching the Mantine provider. Yeah. So we can't be setting the background color on root because that lives above the Mantine provider. So I'm going to get rid of that and that. Color scheme, light, dark. You can all go away. I don't want you. App is the component. App content, router provider. So what is the, do we actually have like a topmost level component? Did I not save? Shit. Oh. Okay. So Mantine already was doing that for us. Awesome. So what actual element has that styling on it? Oh god. Dock to bottom. Is it root? Body? What is Mantine doing? Okay, so Mantine is modifying the body color. That's cool. That's cool. And is that toggle permanently black because I gave it this color? If I just let the color scheme dictate that. Okay. So the color scheme. But do I have that backwards now? Yeah, I do, don't I? I don't know why that's reversed. I don't know why it was reversed before and why it got fixed now. Sun and moon. So we got a moon when it's dark. Probably want to change that background color to be a bit more contrast, but screw it. Screw it for now. And does the color only affect it when it's toggled on? Can I say color white? Oh. So it worked. It's just way too white. White.4? Is that a thing? Light.4? Not a thing. What was it they had in their docs? Blue, yellow. So yeah, dark 4. So light 4, you would think would work. I don't know. Either way, it kind of works. I should probably give it a border. I'm obsessing about it now. Switch color light 4. That's not real. Clearly. Clearly that's not real. Is light an option? No. I think it was better if I just didn't have it. Right. Yeah, that's fine for now. We can play around with it. So how do we get a nice smooth transition? I guess if I just stick on the body in index.css, body, transition, background color. One sec, smooth. Ease in out, that's what I meant. Transition, background, color. I need the S. No, I did. Ease in, background color, ease in out. Is that working? Is it on the body? Background color, transition. So does it not, do transitions not work if you use the variable but change the variable? Let's see. Background color black. Background color white. Does work. CSS transition when var changes. I did not see this being a problem. Because doesn't it happen? Oh no, it's sudden. Over here, it's sudden. God damn. Will I just override it manually? Anteen styles overrides. Theme. Mantine theme override. Oh my. Mantine custom dark light mode themes. Themed colors.dark. Okay. Probably don't want to override those. Mantine transition color scheme. These are cool. Yeah, I'd be pretty happy with those. Not what I'm looking for here, though. CSS transition on bar change. Animate custom properties or variables. Is this what I'm looking for? Opacity var. I don't know if that's going to work. I think just the way Mantine has done this style, it can't be animated. Unless animation. I don't think so. CSS variables and transitions. Have they got it working? I really don't know. I think I just need to manually set the color depending on the theme. So use Mantine theme. Does this have a way to set it inline? What is the background color variable called? Var Mantine color body. So hypothetically, just hypothetically, so theme can I inspect this? I want to see, can I get that color body variable out of there? Come on. Come on. Okay. Colors. Body, anything? No. Okay, so the theme is like a top level spec that a bunch of things use. So that's not going to give it to me. What about color scheme? That's just light. Okay. well, what if, okay, const use background color override. That's what I'm going to do. And that will consume color scheme. Color scheme. Use 19. Color scheme. And it's going to have a use effect. That whenever the color scheme changes, it will modify the body. So document dot original value, just in case. Document dot body dot style dot background color. Document dot body dot style dot background color equals. We can set this up with nicer values down the line, but right now I just want hard-coded values. Equals color scheme equals light. FF else 0 return this equals original value. And I'm going to use this. See if this works. I might have to put like an important on this, but we'll see. Oof. Completely broken. Oh. I think it might be working, but it's not transitioning. Body, background color black. Background color white. And I don't have the, no, I do have the transition on there. What the shit? Background color white. Black. Is the fact that Mantine's changing causing the transition not to happen? I don't know. That's a weird one. Because transitioning between black and white does fix it. Oh, am I being dumb? Am I being a real dum-dum? Do transitions only work if it's like there is the base style and then you add another style on top of it? So just modifying the style object won't fix it, right? Because it won't be transitioning between anything. You're changing both the start and the end. So I need to be applying a class. So let's see. If I add, where's my sidebar? There it is. So in here, if I said body light, background color white. Body dark. Background color black. Import styles from /styles.module. And then instead of modifying the style, I modify the class dot class list dot push. Styles dot body light. So class list dot push does not exist. Just modify class list. You can add and remove. Awesome. Okay, so it's a list. That makes sense. It's a list, not an array. And that makes it a lot easier to remove. That's good. Color scheme equals light. Else styles dot body dark. And then I'm gonna have to specify it out here. I'm gonna new class equals new class, and then remove the new class. And that hopefully allow us to transition. No. Nope. Nope. Did I save everything? Okay, let's inspect what's going on. So I've still got maybe some ad hoc styles. No, okay. Don't click that too fast is what I'm learning. If I turn it on, it's got background color black. Turn it off, it's got background color white. Is it again a case of not having a default? So there just needs to be a default value of light mode. Color scheme, the default value. Use effect. Color scheme. Nope. Because I want this to happen when the component mounts, it's going to set the body's class to light mode. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to do this. New class is styles.light. And we're going to add that new class. And then when the component unmounts, we're going to remove it. Now over here, we're only going to add the dark class when color scheme becomes dark. If color scheme equals dark, dark, new class is dark. Actually, I'm going to make this important because I feel like there might be some conflict. But they should be equal level of importance, so I don't know. We'll see if this works. Body dark, important. Add it and remove it when the color scheme changes. Token cannot contain white space. Yeah, a class name doesn't important I am really good at web development. I'm gonna rename. Important. Okay. So when it's in light mode, it's got the white class, and then we add dark mode. Gets the black class. Got a transition. But it isn't working. Why not? Honestly. Why not? That's really frustrating. Just desperation move. Does it work in Chrome? Because I'm new to working in Firefox. I've been a Chrome boy my whole life. Advanced. Unsafe localhost. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So it doesn't work in Chrome either, which is good news. It's good news. In that it means that it's broken everywhere, and things being broken everywhere is always better than them being broken in just one place. Kind of. Not always. Sometimes. Oh, am I just like fundamentally missing something about how transitions work? It's always there. It's always on the class, or always on the thing. So adding this class is causing the transition. It's just that toggling it, Mantine is doing something and breaking it. What if this is also important? Just doesn't work. Transitioning background color. We've got one class setting it. We've got another class overriding it. So when we add and remove this class, it works fine. And just to prove this to myself, let's remove Mantine theme from the picture entirely. Const use Mantine theme equals, this is dumb. This is dumb. Ignore this. Const theme set theme equals use state. That's either light or dark. Light by default. Turn theme and toggle. What are we calling it? Oh, it's color scheme, right? Yeah. Use Mantine color scheme. Set color scheme. Color scheme. Color scheme. Toggle color scheme is, I would make it a use callback, but none of this is real. Old light or dark. Old equals light, dark, light. Actually, no. What am I doing? I want to set color scheme. There. Okay. Does this make sense? You go away. Okay. What's not working? Setting the color scheme. Toggling the color scheme. If the old is light, then we set it to dark. Otherwise, we set it to light. What am I doing wrong? Color scheme. Plug it. Console.log color scheme. Where are we? Oof. So we're both light. Now we're both dark. Now we're both light. Now we're both dark. That's wrong. This thing's backwards. Doesn't matter. So the scheme works. Why is this not working? Use color scheme. Should be doing this. Light and dark, right? Debugger. Color scheme is light. Now, nothing happened. Why not? This should change whenever color scheme changes. And color scheme is a state value. Oh God, I'm at one of those points where just the most fundamental parts of React development I've been looking at for too long, and it's just not making sense. I'm setting the state to light. It's changing. I can see in the console the value being returned is dark. And yet, this use effect is not running, despite it having the value as a dependency. What if I stick it? What if I stick this here? Color scheme. Console. Light, dark, light, dark. I don't know why there's two lights. Light, 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 dark. Mm-hmm. Have I like mess this up. It's a function that returns. It's a function that calls set scheme. Genuinely, have I messed this up? Old is light. Set it to dark, otherwise set it to light. And prettier gets rid of that anyway. Oh god. Use background color override. It's the one place that I want to log color scheme. So I'm going to stop the debugger, refresh the page, look at the log. Now this isn't working at all. Nope. Oh, it is. It's just really slow. Light, 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 light. So it's always light, despite the hook itself saying that it's returning dark sometimes. Calling use Mantine color scheme. Console.log. Returning color scheme of color scheme. Light. So only one instance is calling. Only one call of the hook is getting back the correct value. The other one is always getting light. What in the fuck? So this is the first instance that's always light. And here's the second instance that's getting the correct value. It's got to be doing something stupid, like calling a function in the render or something. There's no other reason why calling a hook multiple times would cause the value in the state to change. Is it? It's defaulting to light. Is this becoming like a new instance every time? I don't think so. Debugger. Let's see how many times does that breakpoint hit? 1. The component mounted. That's good. Second time. No, not a second time. The second one ran. Okay. Why does clicking this kill the page? It doesn't make sense. Okay. There we go. And then neither of them are toggling. Neither of them are running again, neither of those use effects. So the component's not reinstantiating. It's just getting the wrong value from state. Is one of these actually using Mantine color scheme? This is Pulling from my hook. I'm just going to say use color scheme. Budget. Use color scheme. Maybe there was some weird caching issue. Maybe, I don't know. Seems unlikely. The whole page freezes. Why does that happen? It stays light. Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, I had really hoped to have some like flashy, fancy transition, or at least some proof of concept there of, I think by the end of the day, I'll just be happy if I can get the background color just to fade in and out. Because I did not see it being this difficult. You know what? I think I need to take a break. I need to take a break from it. Let's do something different. Let's mix things up. Nope. Yeah, need to walk away from it. I need to mix things up a bit. Do this. Okay. This will rejuvenate myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to nail this, even though I can already see Gigantamax, which worries me. I'm going to nail this. I'm going to go back to the code and instantly see what I'm doing wrong. So, zoom in. Okay. I never do well on these. Sometimes I win. Well, twice I've won, I think. Okay, I'm instantly screwed. Flying ground. Oh, Brava. Is that one? Or what am I thinking of? No, I was not thinking of that. Flygon? Is that what I was thinking of? Oh, God damn, I'm not touching it. Those are the only two that it might have been in my mind. And I'm already down 2 PP. It's a rough start. Flying grass, I would not have thought existed. Oh, I might not get any of these. Dark grass. Dark is such a bullshit typing. Gmax. Is there Pidgeot? Pidgeot? Nope. Oh, what's it called? The Galar bird. The steel bird thing. What is that called? Corviknight. Corviknight Gmax. Okay. 1. We're on the board. I can't think of a dark. Oh, is the big bad from that series? Is that, or from that game? Is he dark type? I think, was its name Dark something? Eternatus. Eternatus. Didn't he have a mega? Or a Gmax? I thought he did have a Gmax, because in the final battle, it's like that. Or is that just a form, a one-off form? God damn. Darkrai. Nope. Skip. Okay, monotype. This is grand. This is fine. We're going for easy baby answers. Budew could be poison. It's poison. C dot. Okay. And now a monotype Gmax. I'm not sure. Like they only have one type. It's not multiple types. Anyone in chat there to help me? No? You grand. I feel like I can get a monotype Gmax. Is trying to think of what the Gmax things there are. There's like a they can all Dynamax, but Gigantamax is when they have like a special form that mutates them. There's only a few of them. It might be. Or Lax Gmax. Yes, nailed it. You're weirdly good at it. Okay, so I've only got 2 chances left. I don't think I'm going to think of any of these dark ones. Hmm? Okay, name some dark ground or dark grass. I think he's, yeah. No, dark ground or dark grass. Yep. I don't think so. Roserade? No. Roselia? I'll try it. Yeah, you can give up. It's okay. Yeah. I don't think he's ground or grass. I'll try it. Nope. Grand. We'll get it next time. Gotta have somewhere to move up from. Sorry. Thank you. So we've failed miserably at Pokedoku, but I've got T. So let's go back to the code and see if everything makes sense. Chocolate thing. I don't think we have biscuits, do we? It's like a single one. But give me a random tonic. Thank you. Okay, so what were we doing wrong? I defined a custom hook that just calls useState. It can be either light or dark, and I instantiated it to light. And I'm returning that state value. A function that, when called, calls setColorScheme and takes a value of either light or dark and flips it. Toggles it, if you will. Oh, goddamn. Okay. It's not using the same store. Yeah, so I'm just going to abandon this approach. Well, I figured it out at least. 1 second, I am needed elsewhere. And I'm back. Okay, so figured that issue out, at least. Maybe we can figure out what's going on with Mantine. Will it just magically start working? No. Is it remounting the whole stack? No. 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 Okay. Suppose that wouldn't break the CSS transition anyway. Yeah, I still feel like I'm missing just something so fundamental. Something so obvious. So there's a problem to start with. This should be adding the light class. Is Mantine setting the theme to dark? Yeah, I think it must have been. Those icons are backwards again, aren't they? Why? Why can I never have a clear idea of which way they should be or understand why they are the way they are? Okay, so the toggle is off because by default, light mode is the way, and it's got the little sun. You click it and then it's in dark mode. That makes perfect sense, and it looks great. It looks so good. If I do say so myself. So why is this transition not working? What's changing? I don't know. Let's see if there's just some weird gotcha that's hit other people. Oh my god, is it really a Firefox thing? No, it's not. Wait. That's really weird. If I toggle it, okay, I'll bring over the other window. If I toggle it in one browser window, it works correctly in the other browser window. See? So the transition works, and the theme override works. It's just the actual toggle event that's breaking it. The setting of the color scheme. Why? So Mantine is doing something weird whereby toggling the color scheme, it's not just updating some global store, because the global store getting updated is what's happening in the other browser window. It's the actual toggling event. It's doing something. It's like clearing some stack. It's cleaning the slate. It's setting something. And that's just really frustrating. What if I like don't use the toggle? If I don't use the toggle, is that gonna fix it? If I set scheme, will that do it? Don't know why that would be the case. Set color scheme. Dark, else light. Why doesn't it like this? Set color scheme does not let me do a callback. Okay. Color scheme. Change. Set color scheme. I hate that. I hate when that happens. Does this work? No. Sorry, my dog is just doing, there's just tiny little sad cries. She doesn't like me talking to the camera. Or she thinks I'm talking to her and she's trying to talk back. She's just sitting over there, just going, oh. Hi. Hello. Do you want to come over here? Okay. There you go. Okay. Say hello to the nice people. Speak right into the mic. There you go. Okay, so Luna, what am I doing wrong? What's going wrong with the code? Okay. Okay, and then what? Gotcha. I need to throw it all away. Thanks for licking the mic. So what could it be doing? I guess I could look at the source code, couldn't I? 19. Set color scheme. Mantine are pretty good for linking to source code. Usually. Packages. Mantine. Core. Source. Core. Color scheme. Mantine provider. Color scheme. Gotta be color scheme manager, right? Color scheme manager. Is that it? You can't search the code base, can you? Color scheme. Holy shit. You can actually search straight up source code. Fair play, Microsoft. Set color scheme. Okay. Toggle color scheme. What's that doing? Where is that defined? Seriously, where is that defined? Toggle color scheme is just set color scheme. Okay. And set color scheme is saying set color scheme, clear styles ref, keep transitions, disable transition. Use Mantine color scheme, keep transitions. Keep transitions. Can I just do that? Can I just do that? Use Mantine color scheme. Keep transitions. True. Now, does this provide transitions for free, or does it just not break my transitions? My God. Okay, so do I need my transition logic? If I get rid of you. So now we're letting Mantine do its own thing. My God. Why do they have that off by default? It looks so much better. I need to make the transition faster, but still. Okay, 0.25. Let's try that. It could probably be a bit slower, especially if we're going to be putting some fanciness to it. Let's go 3.5. And assuming this isn't like painfully slow. That seems pretty good to me. So I guess one thing we should probably get working right now, though, that transition we don't want to happen on the first render. Because I think problems happen then. If we come in and then we start... Oh God, why is that so slow? What is happening there that causes that to gum up? I don't know. But okay, so if we're in dark mode and we turn it on, it has to transition, and we don't want that. So I wonder, can we do something weird where like we tell it not to transition on the first render? Const is first render, set is first render. Yeah, it's probably a cleaner way of doing this with like with a ref. I'm going to do it with a ref because I don't want the first render to trigger an immediate second render. Const is first render ref equals use ref true. Is first render ref dot current, and then use effect do have no dependencies, and just after the first render is first render ref dot current is false. And in case this works and I run away with Glee right now, I'm going to document it. Set clear first render ref to allow theme transitions to begin. Was this actually doing that in the first place? Yeah. Okay. How do we get that to happen? We don't want these, we don't need these styles at all anymore. I'm just staring at a blank wall right now. Okay. So this isn't even doing anything. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need none of this. Because this value is not even impacting the transition. Ooh. Okay, so you know the way, okay, this override function that I just got rid of that sets a class. Yeah, there it is. So I'm going to copy that, stick it back in, and I'm going to use this to add the transition class. Import styles from /styles. transition theme. Transition. And that makes sense because we only want the transitions when there's a toggle on screen. So it should only have this class when the toggle is on the screen. Use background color transition. Shouldn't necessarily be background color, right? Should be color scheme transition. And then we can use this hook to extend other classes, add to other classes if we need to. And the dog wanted to get down. Color scheme. We don't need this anymore. We just want to add transition theme. Save. And then add the style. Dot transition theme. And then add in that transition class from here. And now we no longer have to have this in a top level CSS file. We can have it all the way up there nicely. Okay. So the page loads. Transitions. Fuck. What if transition, background color, transition none? Is that a thing? Okay, so it really took that transition none on board. Transition none. Is my injector thing not working? My thingy? Transition theme. Oh. Got to be a delay to it. Is this a case for a use layout effect? Probably not, right? Probably not. No. Okay. We're gonna have to do a delay. What if there's no actual time delay? It's just set timeout. There. No animation. But we toggle. But we toggle. But we toggle. Awesome. No animation. Now what the fuck is causing Firefox to freak out when the page loads? That's just got to be a Vite thing, right? It's like clearing the cache, rebuilding every time the browser fetches. Just waving at a dog. Pay no attention. Pay me no mind. Okay. I'm just gonna commit this because it needs it. I want to get in that habit of just doing these small little commits. What is this? install state. I probably don't want to persist. No, I probably do want to persist yarn, but install state.gz. It's an optimization file that you shouldn't ever have to commit. Okay, I'm just going to add installed state.gz. Let's go and get ignore. That worked. Right. Yeah, so I'm going to commit this, get this get ignore fixed up, commit all this stuff, and then call it a day for now. Maybe I'll return in a little bit, but probably not. Might just be happy with this. Yarn / install state. What am I doing wrong here? Star.gz. Star / install state.gz. Install state /. Why is that not working? Should .yarn ever be committed? I don't. Fuck it. Oh, because it was already in the thing. Install state .gz. Hmm? Oh god, this is not a good indictment of how good I am at version control and stuff. Oh, it's modified. No, have I previously committed that? Delete previously committed file. Or remove. Get ignore. It's one of them things. One of them things you always have to Google. /.yarn / install state.gz removed, and now it's hidden. So will it be gone when I commit? Yes, okay, it's marking it as deleted. Awesome. Okay. So this is all good to be committed, I think. Is any of this test code? Not really. Like, it's all kind of test code, but constants. That was just playing around. Don't want that. Yep, needed that for various things. Yeah. Cool. We're good to commit all this. Basic fade transition icons plus Mantine plus basic color scheme fade transition. And I'm pushing this up to the GitHub repo. It's fully available. I'm just going to do a private window just in case it shows an access token or something. github.com/Connor Kelleher /localboast.com. All the code for the website is available there at the .com, and all the code for LocalBoast, the utility library, is at /localboast. I think both pages have just the placeholder README, so it's not very well documented right now. But oh shit! Just saw the chat. ZX Maddie, what are you working on? Sorry for the delay. I think what I'm working on is React library. Basically, a bunch of utilities, a bunch of hooks, and off-the-shelf components to make that both that are like flashy. I like to show off with fun user interactions and so somewhat pointless flashy things, but also some actual useful things that like I've seen from past jobs where it's like things that keep needing to be done. So I had a storybook open with what I've got working. Where was it? LocalBoast 666006. Is that it? Yeah. So just a bunch of little UX helpers. Use move to move things around. Use rotate to be able to rotate things, and that's going to build up to a bigger library to do with drag and drop snapping. I've got a use truncate hook that allows for any string to be nicely truncated from like the middle or from the start. And it's not documented on here, but I've got a bunch of Twitch chatbot scraper things. And that's the intention there, is that it's going to be, yeah, I'll show you. If I go to /Twitch, the intention there is that it's going to be incorporated into, I've broken light mode, so that's why you can't see these buttons. So yeah, like I've got this bot on my website using hooks from that LocalBoast library that's able to read my Twitch chat. So if I type a message into my chat, test chat message, it pops up in the browser. And the idea there is both, it's just a React library that anyone can use, anyone can grab this stuff, and it is able to pull a Twitch channel. But I'm also going to demonstrate it on my website as like a game. I'm going to have a few things, one of them being like an Etch-a-Sketch is a dumb thing that I'm thinking of working on. And yeah, so that's kind of what's going on there. So that's what I was just showing, that I've got two, where's the window? I must have already closed it. So I've got two GitHub repos, one at LocalBoast, and oh yeah, I had it in a private window, didn't I? I don't know. Anyway, I've got LocalBoast as an NPM library that anyone can use, open source. It's not very well documented right now because it's just got the placeholder script, but that's the one that I'm extending with all this cool functionality. And then I've got my website that I was playing around with today on stream. That's like, as you can see, it is not a fully functional website. I'm just kind of, it's just a playing ground right now where I can dump some cool interactions. And that is also crashing my browser. That's also available on GitHub at localboast.com to track my progress with it. And I'm just going to be working on that gradually on stream here because I quit my full-time job and I'm just playing around with open source personal libraries. Oh, thanks. You're still here. Yeah. Thanks for taking an interest and at least hearing me rant about it. I don't know. Like, are you a developer, ZX Matty? I know it's kind of an intimate chat at this point. Oh, goddamn. That's my first follow ever, and the alert is actually working. So happy about that. Awesome. Cool. I assume React. I know a bunch, like, LinkedIn recruiters, if you set your availability at all to like interested to hear about jobs, you just, depending on the day, you might get like 20 job offers, or not offers, but like application requests. And most of them are like finance tech. And I don't think I ever went near them just because finance stuff, it's not particularly interesting to me. I don't really understand it very well. And as I've just shown, I like playing around with dumb, silly graphical interactions. But I imagine hopefully you get to play around with that in the finance stuff. Do you get to like work on graphs or anything? Or I imagine it might be a lot of just like text rendering and loading server data and stuff, which has a place in the world, but I don't know. It's not where my passion with React is. But yeah. So what is it? Huge mix. Actually, now that I've got someone chatting, I can enable chat. Yeah, I would have actually seen messages come in then if I had that enabled. Laravel, Vue, Flutter, Dart, and lots of DB work. That is a lot of words that I know nothing about. I need to Google what is... So I've heard of Vue at least. That's like linked with Vite, right? Because I'm using Vite for this project, but I know like nothing about Vue. What is Laravel? PHP framework. Interesting. Flutter and Dart as well. Never heard of them. Flutter, web. Damn. Okay. Might just have to look into these off stream and just figure out, have some understanding of the industry I'm in outside of my little niche. But yeah, DB work. Oh, cool. iOS, Android. Nice. Yeah, I think the last time I worked at all specific with web or with mobile stuff was when I first got into React. It was like React Native, and that was in like 2017. So I have no idea what that ecosystem's like these days. But yeah, imagine if I was going specific to a mobile device, I think I'd just stay with what I know and just hope that React Native is the same as React these days, or at least like has a lot of interchangeable stuff. So I have no idea. Flutters for iOS. Well, again, thank you so much for following. Unfortunately, I've been streaming for a few hours, and you seem to have jumped on right at the end. My dog is losing her mind, needing to go for a walk, so I think I need to call it a day. But yeah, thank you so much for the follow. Hope to see you again, and you have the honor of being my first. But yeah, hope you have a great day, and see you then. Thanks.